Now, with most people preparing to travel to various destinations to enjoy the festive season with family and friends, the Betway Premiership players will get little to no rest for this campaign. Fans and supporters will still enjoy local football as teams will be battling it out even on Christmas Eve. Now, tomorrow, Mamelodi Sundowns will be looking to extend their lead at the top of the league as they will play with Amazulu away from home. Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates will be trying to keep the pressure on the Brazilians as they host Marumo Gallants, and of course Sundowns having played a game extra than Orlando Pirates. In previewing these two important games and talking other things football, we are joined by football analyst and former footballer Mark Haskins. A good morning to you, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
A very good morning to you. Great to be here once again.
Mark, before we get into Betway Prem action that we're looking forward to on Christmas Eve tomorrow, perhaps just touching on the Carling Cup final where we saw Mamelodi FC being thumped 3-0 by the All-Star team. Just your thoughts on that game and how it played out and how dominant the All-Stars were.
Yeah, they certainly were very dominant in that game, but you could kind of feel that there was something not right with that Mamelodi team. A team that we've grown accustomed to, very structured, very organized, and that's what you expect from any Clinton Larsen team. On the day, they were just run ragged by, obviously, an all-star team, some really special players in that team. And but you would expect a team that was able to beat Mamelodi Sundowns in the cup final to get to that stage to really put up a better showing. So you could almost you had a sense that something wasn't altogether right with that Mamelodi team. I looked at the game and you can see how stretched they were. That's a very disconcerting for any Clinton Larsen team, where when they lose the ball, they were not compact at all. And that's what, they base their defense on. They're very compact, very difficult to break down. And this all-star team seemed to break them down at will. And already then you were wondering, okay, what exactly is going on here? So very dominant from the All-Star team. And you have to give credit to some of the players there, really special. Some of the youngsters stood up, Naledi Tlongwane especially, with his 2 goals. And then obviously the likes of Rile Mofokeng, Zwane showed up. And it was a really good performance. I know one of your favorite, Jabu Mokone, as well at right back, also put up a really good show. So it was a fun game, but I definitely feel that Mamelodi weren't altogether themselves.
It was a fun game, and when you mention the youngsters, we also look at a Khumuli Mokekane and an Aiden McCarthy that managed to play a full 90 games of the game. That was beautiful to watch. But let's speak a little bit more about Coach Clinton Larsen. The shocker then being at the end of the game in a post-match interview, him saying that he's resigning as the coach of Mamelodi. Your thoughts on that? Because you could just hear from the pre-match interview to the post-match and you say that something was amiss.
Yes, certainly. And I don't know if it's a new trend in South African football, because we know Said Ramovic did the same thing when he announced his departure from TS Galaxy. So, yeah, Coach Clinton, he got into his interview and immediately just, I think with the first question asked, already announced that, look, this is going to be my last game with Mamelodi. And it's a tough one to understand. You would have thought with the window coming up, the transfer window coming up, maybe now with the money that they've gotten from the cup, they'll go into the market and try and strengthen and boost the squad, because he has lamented the fact that he doesn't quite have, a strong enough squad to compete in the PSL. So it's a tough one. I was hoping to see at least him get through the January window, strengthen his squad, and then see how he competes. If he then fails, then I think would be the right time maybe to leave. But I think it's a little premature. And again, I was hoping we'd find out whether it was a consensual thing, if it was him deciding I've had enough, whether the management felt
on mutual.
Are we parting on mutual terms? We know the age-old saying. So we're not quite sure exactly how this transpired, how they got to that decision. I guess maybe time will tell.
And of course, at the moment, Mamelodi just rooted at the bottom of the Betway Premiership table, only winning 1 game out of all the encounters they've played. And that moves me now to the discussion to the Betway Premiership. We look at action tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mamelodi Sundowns away to Amazulu. Let's speak to that because we've seen a coach, Miguel Cardoso, unbeaten in his first 2 games with Sundowns, and many saying that the team seems to be reverting back to their old style of play that we used to see under Coach Rolani. What do you make of how they've come out in their 2 games under Coach Cardoso, and what are your expectations in this Amazulu clash?
Well, I think it's really early to tell whether he's changed too much. I think he knows them very well based on his previous encounters when he was with Esperance. And you can see he kind of understands the way Rulani had the team set up, and they were very good then. And I think he's probably maybe feel, let's not tweak it too much. Let's just go back to what has worked in the past. And so I don't think we can really say exactly what his style is as yet, if he's going to change things, because remember, when he came in, he had to prepare immediately for a Champions League game with Sundowns in a bit of a crisis, only having drawn their opening 2 games. They hadn't had a win in the Champions League yet. He's managed to do that, but I must say his game management for me, I really appreciate it. So when I look at the game against Raja, the way he moved, in game, the way he switched things up, the substitutes that he made, the timing of those substitutions. He's a coach who he knows what he's doing. He's got a clear understanding of how he wants to play and how he wants to react in the games, and so that I can appreciate about him. But I think it's still a little too early to say that he's had a distinct impact on this team. Again, I think he still needs a bit of time to embed his own philosophy. And again, time will tell with that one as well. Time is the best teacher, as we say. So I'm impressed with the first 2 games, but I know that we can't get carried away with it.
Someone who has embedded his philosophy in the style of play of his team is Coach Jose Ribeiro. Orlando Pirates esgodini sikaMaminzela. It's called the Slaughterhouse. We saw it being the Slaughterhouse for the All-Stars this weekend. Let's speak to them hosting a Marumo Gallants side, which we've always said plays beautiful football, but sometimes the results are just shortcoming for Coach Dan Malisela. What do you make of Pirates going up against Marumo Gallants at home?
That one is going to be interesting purely because I'm not quite sure what's happening at Marumo Gallants, because Braden was put on special leave for family reasons. We hope it is just that, because I think the results haven't been consistent, but like you said, they've been playing really good football and there have been some really good results in there. And again, we know what a short period of time he's had to really get the team prepared for the season. I think it seems like they are coming right now. And they've added to their coaching personnel. Sundra Govender has now been added to the Marumo Gallants coaching staff. So I'm hoping everything is as it should be with the technical team. So we'll see, obviously, what Braden puts forward. Should he be on the bench tomorrow against Pirates? But yes, Coach Jose Ribeiro, I mean, he's been absolutely stellar. You can kind of see what his tried and tested 11 is. His starting 11. The only thing with Pirates, we know that we've said in the past, maybe their depth is not quite what it should be. But I think Pirates are still going to be too strong on the day for Marumo Gallants. And they'll still be the one team that's going to push Mamelodi Sundowns all the way.
So you've told me now, Marumo Gallants, Orlando Pirates, you're going with Pirates for the victory. Let's speak to Amazulu, Mamelodi Sundowns, the co-coaches up against Cardoso.
Yeah, I think the co-coaches have done well. They've had some good results recently. But again, I think Sundowns are still going to be too strong. I think they're catching them at the wrong time. You know, when they say a new broom sweeps clean, I think this is the wrong time really to be facing Sundowns. And so, unfortunately for Coach Zwane and Coach Vilakazi, it might be the wrong time to come up against the league leaders. So I still feel that Sundowns probably will be too strong for Amazulu.
All right.
With their new signings.
Yeah, the new signings, we love them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mark Haskins, football analyst as well as commentator. Let me not leave out the S. Mark Haskins, football analyst as well as commentator, former footballer himself. Hey, Lele Potrisi.